Good evening, and it's Lilia from Peel, Scotland. And with me tonight, I have the co-creator of Barmolloch Healing Sanctuary and Scotland's holistic dentist, my friend Stewart Wright, who everybody always loves to hear on our lives. But tonight we've got a completely different topic to discuss. And basically, Stewart had been telling us at our meeting last week about sovereignty and breaking free of some of the systems. So, Stuart, would you like to just, I said we need to talk about this online. Would you like to just give us an overview of what you've been learning, the rabbit hole that you've been down?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll try and keep it short tonight because this can go on for hours. I was at a meeting last night and it was 6 hours. So
Really?
it's not because, yeah, it gets so complicated. But basically, to start with, I started looking into this about a year ago when I started looking at natural law. And that was a fascinating subject, and looking at the difference between legal and lawful, and how the institutions have set up all sorts of control systems that are controlling us at multiple levels. And just following down various rabbit holes, I came across a couple of fairly significant groups. One of them was a group called Hornsey Wood Academy, who have been doing some amazing work looking at reclaiming your name. So I think the simple thing to do tonight, just to give you an idea of how distorted this world is that we live in and how we've been duped, would be just to talk simply about what happens when you're born, what happens to your name, and how you're then controlled, and the whole world is kind of not what you think it is. So basically, you don't own your name. I may well think my name is Stewart Wright, but in actual fact, I don't have a name because it's been given away. So what happens basically when you're born is the first name you're given is given to you by the government. And that is baby, whatever your surname might be. So in my case, baby Wright, baby whatever. And that then goes off to the records and gets held as the surname for baby. Your parents then give you a name, a Christian name or a first name, a middle name. And that is then put on a certificate. One of the certificates goes off in one direction, off to the government. Another one goes off to the hospital records. And I believe another one goes off to the Vatican. It's kind of gets really a bit murky there because no one's able to find all three parts of that particular document. But they've managed to find two, but it appears that there's one bit they can't find. So what happens is, anyway, your parent, that then goes off to go whatever it's going to do. And your parents then go along to the registrar and register your name. Now, when you register anything, you give up title. So that's why when you look at your car registration, you're not the owner of your car, you're the registered keeper of your car. Because because it's registered, you don't own it. You've given it away to the crown. So basically, when your parents register your name, they give you and your name away. So they no longer own you. They're your rent. That's why they call them your pay rents. It is renting you. Okay. So I mean, that's like, yeah, I know it's mental. And I mean, and the first time I heard it, I'm like, that is just a load of bollocks. But then when you start going into it, it's like, oh my God, it's not. And you go through, kind of weird, you go through like disbelief, then you get angry, and it's like, this, and then eventually you go, well, actually, there's no point being angry. Let's just do something about it. So, so basically what then happens, and there is a thought that in actual fact, what's happened is they've created a twin for you with that name. Okay, so that's your twin. And there's a guy in the States who has been doing some work looking at what they do with the placenta, because they actually record the birth of the placenta as well, and they weigh it. That's why they weigh it. And they're thinking that, yeah, and what they're thinking is that name that they're given is actually the name of your twin, which is your placenta, and it's now dead. So it's now a dead entity.
My God.
And being a dead entity, that means it can become a company. And so it turns you from being a person into what's called an implied company. And that is what they trade with. So any corporation, when it's doing business, has to trade with something that is alike. So a man or a woman can trade with a man or a woman and contract with them, but a company has to contract with a company. And so what they do is they create a company out of that name. That's why when you get anything from the government, your name is in capitals. Right? English does not allow fully capitalized names, apart from acronyms, right? Or companies. So when you write the name of a company, it's all capitalized. Okay?
Yes.
If it's an acronym like BBC, it's all capitalized. But you cannot write a name all capitalized. The only way you can capitalize a name is in something called American Sign Language. Right? So that's not actually English. They're writing when they write to you. But you think it is, because that's the way you've been told. And you've had such a connection to that name and the writing of that name that you think it's you. And so you then take responsibility for that name. But it actually isn't you. It's an implied, it's an implied company. It's an implied company. All right. So when you get your tax bill and it's in capital, that's not you. That's the company that they're trying to get the money off, because tax is voluntary. You pay tax because you're happy to pay tax. They can't make you pay tax. And because United Kingdom is actually a company as well, and HMRC is a company, and the DVLA are companies, and your local council is a company. All these are businesses. They're not what they think they are. If you go into company's house, you'll find all of these. Even the UK is a company.
Really?
Great Britain is a landmass. United Kingdom is a company. Right?
That's crazy.
And so it's crazy. And I'm like, the first time, this is about 6 months ago, I started finding this, and I'm like, this is nuts. This can't be real. Like, surely I'm not that thick, but I'm got to nearly 70 and I didn't know that all this was going on. And I'm afraid it's absolutely true. It is absolutely true. And so Hornsey Wood Academy said about 15 years ago, the guy who clicked onto what was going on actually bought his company. Right? So he took it from what's called an implied company to a real company. And he's the managing director of that real company. Right?
Right.
So now he has made it so it doesn't trade. And so anytime anyone tries to deal with him, he just writes his name in capitals, unless it's written absolutely correctly. Then you just send the letter back to them. So if they don't write, I've got my company, which is now Stewart James Wright Limited. So if they send a tax bill to me saying Stewart James Wright, well, it's not limited, so that goes back because that's not the right address.
Yes.
Right. And say they did write Stewart James Wright. Well, I don't have a contract with them. So I can't, I'm not in business with them. I'm not doing business with them. So you just send it back.
So it's really the legal entities that we thought we were trading with are just really a lot of rubbish.
They're all basically companies, all trading as companies, all trying to make a profit, because that's what a company has to do.
So you
If
can
it's not
opt out of.
Yeah, I mean, basically, you if you are answering a letter that's written to you in capital letters, then you are taking on the ownership and responsibility of that name. But it isn't you. You don't have a name. Your name was given away. So in actual fact, even your passport has got a capitalized name.
Really?
That's not you. Right. Even your birth certificate has got a capitalized name.
Yes,
it's not you.
yes,
And on your birth
yes,
certificate, at the bottom it says, this certificate cannot be used for identification. So when somebody asks you for your birth certificate to prove your identity, at the bottom of it says you can't use it. So you're being fraudulent.
Wow. Right.
And same with your passport. And in fact, we don't at the moment appear to have any way of proving our legal name. Even if you go and get what's called an enrolled deed poll, which is where you change your name by deed poll, so you create your own name, right? And then you get it registered at the Royal Courts of Justice. What they're doing is, right up until very recently, all the guys were thinking this was how you could do it, and then they started to notice that, hang on, there's a whole load of rules that are being broken here. First of all, if you have a contract, it should be on one piece of paper. So there's something called the 4 corners rule. So a contract should be written within 4 corners, and that should be it. But if there's a box on there, so if there's like a little box that you write your name in, that is like adding another piece of paper onto the contract.
Right.
So it's not a true contract anymore. So every single time you have a box on, or it's basically another layer of removal from that contract. It's called the 4 corners rule.
Right. And so is this just one guy that's realized that?
No, there's loads and loads and loads and loads and loads. What he did was very smart, and he actually just got his name. So he's now got control of that name. And it's not a trading company. It's a dormant company. Right? So he cannot possibly have a contact with anybody. And then he went and got the deed poll. So he had created his own name. But unfortunately, what then happens is a legal name. Okay, so people are asking for your legal name. A legal name consists of a Christian name and a surname. But on the document, instead of saying Christian name and surname, it says new name. Now, a new name isn't a Christian name, because the words that we use are absolutely fundamental. If it says it has to be a Christian name, then it should say Christian name. It shouldn't say new name or chosen name or anything else. It should say Christian name. And if it doesn't say Christian name, then it ain't a Christian name. So it's not a legal name. So they've been getting duped. So they're going back to the Royal Courts of Justice to go, right, come on, what's going on? Let's get this sorted out. Because you've sold me apparently a legal name, but it isn't legal because it's not done right. And everything's going to be kind of, folk, I think, are starting to, the people in control are starting to wake up, and they're trying little scams here and there to try and pull the wool over people's eyes. But the people are becoming more and more and more and more aware of the games that are being played. And so really the reason I'm bringing this up is, if you're going to heal, you need to be able to make choices for yourself and be in control of your life.
100%.
But what this basically does is turns you into a slave.
Yes.
We're a slave to the corporations, a slave to the government, a slave to the UK. We're not free.
Yeah.
How can we heal?
How
can you be all you can be if you're under the control of another person? And so it was really to say, we should be sovereign beings, and we're not. We have we don't have that freedom. And the only way we're going to get that freedom is by breaking free from that system and all the other systems that are there to hold us down.
For control.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. This all started originally with a conversation I had with somebody who said, did you know it was illegal to pay tax? And I'm like, No, I didn't. Tell me more, because I'm one of these people that I try never to go, oh no, that's stupid. I always try to
Yeah.
listen. So
Yeah.
it turns out that it is actually illegal to pay tax. The government obviously don't want you to know this, but
Uh-huh.
if there's anti-terrorism law recently
Uh-huh.
put in, I think it was 2001, that states that you're not allowed to fund any organization that knowingly funds war, terrorism, or genocide. Well,
Wow.
that's what the
So there
government
you
does.
go.
That's what the government
Yes.
does. You know, so
Uh-huh.
if we give our taxes to the government, we're funding an organization that
Uh-huh.
is committing terrorism. So therefore,
Absolutely.
we could be basically done under Anti-Terrorism Act. So
Ah.
there's a charity that's just recently changing its name, I think, to stop war. It used to be called Probity Co. And what they suggest you do, if you don't want to start, really getting away from it, but you really don't agree with war and terrorism and
Uh-huh.
genocide, is that you pay your tax into a conditional trust, and you make the government the benefactor of that trust, but they
Uh-huh.
only get the money when they prove to you that the money is not being used for war, genocide, or terrorism. And if they can't do that, then after a year, then the money comes back to the trust, and then they can do what they want with it.
Well, I mean, that makes perfect sense. Why, who would fund the nonsense that, but
I'm afraid we
we've
all
all,
are, because we all are. We're doing that both with our any fine that we get,
uh-huh.
like road traffic fine,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
our council tax, and our income tax, and our VAT, and
yeah.
our stamp duty, and all these things. They all go into one big pot,
Hmm.
and that then gets divvied out. So if you were to argue with your council and they say, "Oh no, it goes to pay for the lighting and this and that," it doesn't. It all
Uh-huh.
goes into one big pot, and then the government gives it back.
Yes.
So if it's all gone into that one big pot, you cannot separate
Yeah.
your money from anybody else's. It's all there. And
Uh-huh.
so there are a number of organizations, and there's actually a good number of people in Scotland actually that are waking up to this. I'm doing this for a long, long time. I'm
Uh-huh.
so fortunate with the people I meet, with the job that I do. There's amazing people out there doing stuff along these lines. So really what I wanted to do was, it's one of these things that if we're doing it in a community, it's a hell of a lot easier to get a bit of support off each other than standing there yourself getting shot at. So
Yes.
I've kind of started it, but I've still got we've still got a lot to do, an awful lot
Uh-huh.
to do. And it would be great to know, like, hang on, there's other people that are going, you know what? I'm going to go and look at this. And I'm not saying we
Yeah.
should dive into it now, but go and start looking. Go and start
Yes.
looking. There a couple of books I would really, really, really recommend.
Uh-huh.
One is called "The Title Is Not Important,"
Uh-huh.
and it's by a guy called. Give me. Oh, I can't remember. I'll come back with you with that one.
Uh-huh.
And another one is "The Fabrication of History," which
Uh-huh.
is a really good read. And the other one, which really I was quite depressed when I was reading, and then I kind of woke up a bit, is called 180 Degrees.
100. Uh-huh.
And it basically is a big tome of nearly 800 pages, just explaining what the hell's been going on for the last 200 years.
Yeah. Well, I
And
think,
it's mind blowing. And I think if there are people out there in our community who are thinking, you know what, I think there's more to what's going on than just trying to work at getting good food and breathing well. There's more that we need to do to become
yes,
healthy and sovereign
sovereign.
and
Hmm.
strong. Then I think it would be a really good idea if these guys could start getting some of these books. And I'll send you a link.
Uh-huh.
Spend a month reading them. Spend a month reading them, and then let's come back in a month and have a meeting and go, right, who's interested? Who wants to do
Yes,
something? And then I can say
absolutely.
to the people that I've managed to meet so far are all really good people. Okay, guys, we've got X number of people here in Scotland are really keen to do something.
Yes.
Can you help do this? Can you support us? Can you show us what we're doing? Because a lot of these people are in England, so the English law is slightly different from the Scottish law when it comes to certain bits, but there's other stuff where it's exactly the same, and there's some stuff in Scotland is easier to do than it is in England. So just to get a bit of help, because I am not the person to do this, but I'm certainly, having been down the rabbit holes that I've been down and started to do the things that I'm doing, I'm realizing, oh my God, we need to do something. And if you could get 100, 200, and eventually a few thousand people doing this, it wouldn't take long to make some major changes.
Yes. And surely right now is the time, because I think after what's happened in the last 5 years, people have really, I mean, it's woken so many people up, there's no doubt.
Yes.
And I mean,
Absolutely.
we're still learning, and we're still going, I can't believe this. I can't believe this. So what you're talking now is really about the entire setup of what we perceive to be our, I suppose, our working model within all the different.
And also, really, when you think about it, this is almost like a spiritual war that's going on right now. There's these people here, and most of the people in this group that are trying like mad to help other people, to support people, to be positive, to do the right thing for people. And then you've got not that many people in the world, but with massive power and control, doing the very opposite.
I know.
You know, and it's like, okay, we're not all psychopaths.
Yes.
These psychopaths up there have no feeling and don't care and only interested in themselves. There's not that many of them. There's only about a small percentage of humanity. If we could just
the power is all with us. Absolutely, the power is with the people. I've been saying that for like decades now. So what
absolutely.
We're going to do
That's why they're frightened right now. That's why there's all this stuff going on, because they realize it's coming to the end game. That's why everything's showing now, because they're not hiding it anymore.
No,
because it's too late to hide it now. It's in plain sight now, because it's like, this is coming to the end. We've got to do something.
And I think the lack of trust in the big tech companies, lack of trust in the government and the politicians. We've been complaining and blaming and shaming for long enough. Now, what are we going to do? Can we actually go, wait a minute here, there is a way around this, a legal way around it. And if enough of us know and understand it, then we can do it another way.
It make a difference. Well, it doesn't take that many people to start going to the banks with, when you have a look at the book, the title is not important. You'll be blown away with what the banks do to you. I mean, I heard that fiat money was just made from nothing and they just did this and that. But see, when the guy explains exactly how it's done, it's like, oh my God, that is genius.
So what's the bank? What's the book about the banks called?
It's called, the title is Unimportant.
Unimportant, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't. It's on my phone. I've got it as Audible. I just can't remember the guy's name right now. But I'll send you the information so you can send it out to your group.
Should be able
to
I'll
send you a text with all the info on it. I just can't remember right off the top of my head. If you give me 2 seconds, I should be able to show you one of the other ones. So there's the one, 180 degrees. Right? Look how thick it is.
Wow.
Right. And that's by Fergus O'Connor Greenwood.
Right.
Unlearn the lies you've been taught to believe.
Wow. 180 degrees, right? Brilliant.
Yeah,
but I mean, obviously,
really worth a look.
The reason I wanted you to come on and talk about this was because it's a relatively complicated, complex subject to discuss and digest.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely. That's why I'm thinking, if anybody that's interested just spends a few weeks just reading a couple of these books, so they get a grounding, so they get an idea of, actually, okay, right, now I'm getting to see how it goes. Yes. Then with then we can maybe then start contacting some of these other folk who have really been going into it in depth.
Because
For the
what we
last
need is,
15
right,
years and more.
there'll be plenty of people that I know that will be very, very interested in this. I know that for sure. But it's almost like we need right, okay, well, what do we do and how do we do it, rather than having to, because people are stressed, right, busy, they don't have enough time to go down the rabbit holes the way we do sometimes,
Right.
or
Yeah.
the brain just doesn't compute a lot of these, like heavy subjects. So I think what we want to do is we want to kind of make it really, break it down like ChatGPT and make it as simple as possible for people to understand. And then, in fact, I might put it into, apparently you can put that into ChatGPT, condense the topics of a book, and you'll get the main key points.
I saw something just the other day, something else the other day about it that someone had done through GTP, and it really, it basically agreed with every damn thing that was said.
Yes.
In these books.
Yeah.
So it's not.
So what we will do is
important. But part of the issue is some people in the group, or some people, need to really understand it, because it is very, very accurate in its way you do it, because you have to truly understand the words they're using, why they're saying them, what they're doing. Because, like I said, new name and Christian name are not the same thing.
Yes.
So every single word that is used matters. Is like that.
Yes. And that's when you really have to understand what you're doing and what you're saying and why you're doing it.
And that's why to speak to people who've been doing it for the last 15 years and have been in and out of court, winning and losing, and learning every time they lose. These are the people that can be really, really, really helpful.
Yeah. And as you say, it's in terms of healing, being able to be free from these systems that are coercing us.
Well, it is quite remarkable, but I feel having discovered what I've discovered and come to terms with it, and now taking some action to try and remedy it, I actually feel quite different.
Yes,
a lot of the fear, like when a letter comes and you know that it's your tax demand, there's absolutely there's no reaction to it.
Yes, fantastic.
I have a stamp. I just have a stamp here, which I go dunk, put the line through, send it back.
Yes, yeah.
It's.
That's brilliant, and there'll definitely be people on our wavelength that really want to know. Well, for a start, I told you I was down in Bristol, and the guys down there were talking about it like as if everybody knows about it. So it's definitely spreading. So that's why I wanted to get you on, give a little description of, it's basically just quite simply, they've been playing us for fools. And I think
we've been played. We have been played like you would not believe.
And now we're coming up with ways.
It's actually, when you do start going down these rabbit holes, you actually just see it everywhere, every single damn thing, the education, universities, like the dumbing down of people. There's another really good book called The Great Brain Robbery, where the guy's going into the education system. This guy who's I'm trying to remember which book he wrote. He did the falsification of history. He's actually putting together a whole educational system that you can do for home education, to go back to the classics and actually teach people the proper educational system of the triune, where you get knowledge into your head, you get understanding into your heart, and then you get action from the gut. So so you and I are at an age where we just got the very back end of that, just as they were starting to really start removing it from school. But now anybody in school, they're not taught to understand. They're given information and they're just told to regurgitate it.
Absolutely.
And
it's a memory exercise.
The ones that regurgitate it best get better exams. So they go off to university. And where you used to be able to question at university, now it's exactly the same. This is what you do. This is, fill that in, right? You've done it right. So you can get a job. Yeah. And so they're just feeding the system. which is nothing about understanding wisdom or anything like that. It's just about regurgitating the story.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
so we need to break.
And I mean, I think there's Bernie on. She's saying, good to catch up with you both. I've been wondering how we stop from being automatically taken from income and personal allowances. What about our private pensions? I mean, I've already given up on the private pension thing. We've spot on, Lily. I've tried to understand this stuff and none the wiser. I learn best with experience and others showing me. And that's exactly what I was saying, Bernie, to Stuart here, that we can start to break, and we're going to do that. We're going to go into our community and we're going to have these discussions so that only people that are genuinely interested, we're not going to fight with anybody and try and convince anybody it's a good idea, but the people that are already awake and like going, right, tell me about this, that's the people we want to bring in. And then we can all, with the power of numbers, we can start to really make a change. Because
yeah, absolutely. I'm really not interested in having a not even a fight, an argument or a long discussion trying to convince somebody that I'm right and they're wrong. I don't have enough energy in my system anymore to do that.
Yeah,
I stopped doing it with medicine and dentistry, years ago, and I'm not going to be doing it with this. It's like, this is how I've seen it. You can either take my advice and go and read the books and argue with the authors of the books, but don't argue with me. And I don't have, if you go and read the books, if you think it's a load of shite, don't get involved. If you actually think, well, hang on, there's some truth in this, well, then let's see if we can work as a team and get it working.
Let's get a plan together. Absolutely. Well, listen, thanks a million. I know you've had a busy day and I appreciate you jumping on to educate us one more time. And what we'll do is we'll send out some links to people, anybody that's interested watching this live or watching this on a replay. We'll do a webinar inside our gated community and we'll talk about it.
I'll text you the title of the book, the couple of books. I think it's worth a read. Some of them you can get as Audible. Some of them you just need to you just have to sit down and read.
Yes.
I've got to read again. You just have to do it. But
I know.
I'll do that for you. I'll do that for you this evening so you can get it off right away, okay?
Right, magic. Thanks a million. And guys, please let us know if you're interested and we'll start taking names and we'll get ready with some training webinars. Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Night, guys. Thanks for listening.